You've spent your whole life working hard, raising families, and helping everyone around you. Yet somewhere along the way, people stopped saying thank you. They stopped noticing the strength it takes to wake up every day and keep going, even when your body feels tired, but your heart is still strong. This world moves fast, doesn't it? Sometimes it feels like no one slows down long enough to appreciate all the wisdom, patience, and quiet love you carry. But today, this video is for you. Because no matter what anyone says, you still matter. Your experience, your lessons, your presence, they still hold value. You've built this country, held families together, and carried generations through difficult times. So today, I just want to remind you of something important. You deserve credit for things you've done that most people will never truly understand. In this video, we'll talk about 6 things you deserve but rarely get credit for. And as we go through each one, I hope you see yourself, the quiet hero behind every story worth telling. So before we begin, tell me in the comments, what's one thing you wish people appreciated more about you? And which state are you tuning in from? I'd love to hear from you. 1. Your wisdom and life experience. You've lived long enough to understand things most people your age once rushed past. You've learned that patience saves energy, kindness solves more problems than anger, and silence sometimes says more than 100 words ever could. That's not just experience, that's wisdom earned through living. You've seen the world change, prices rise, values shift, families scatter, and through it all, you found ways to adapt. You learned to repair instead of replace, to plan before spending, to forgive instead of fight. That's real intelligence, the kind no school can teach. I once spoke with a retired mechanic named Robert from Michigan. During the 1980s recession, when his shop was struggling, he started offering free tune-ups for single mothers who couldn't afford car repairs. He said, "I didn't make much money those months, but I never lost a customer again." That small act of kindness turned into loyalty that kept his business alive. His story is proof of what your generation understood so well. When you help others, life has a way of helping you back. That's the wisdom we need today, to think long-term, to value people over profit, to act with heart instead of hurry. So never underestimate what you know. Your stories aren't just memories, they're lessons the world still needs. And when you share what life has taught you, whether it's how to stretch a dollar, fix what's broken, or heal what hurts, you're passing down something no technology can replace. Real human wisdom. 2. Your emotional strength. You've faced storms that most people today couldn't handle for a week, yet you made it through decades. You've buried loved ones, watched dreams change, rebuilt your life more than once, and still managed to laugh, to love, and to keep hope alive. That's not just strength, that's emotional endurance, something the world rarely gives credit for. You've learned how to stay calm when life feels unfair and how to find peace even when things don't go your way. You understand something younger generations still struggle with, that not every situation needs control, sometimes it just needs faith and patience. I remember meeting Linda, a 72-year-old widow from Texas. After losing her husband, she told me, "Grief doesn't end, it changes shape. The trick is to let it teach you compassion instead of bitterness." She started volunteering at a local hospice, helping others go through what she once faced alone. She told me helping others heal helped her heal too. That's what your generation understands so deeply, turning pain into purpose. You've learned how to bend without breaking, how to stay kind even when the world feels harsh. So the next time someone tells you you're strong, remember, it's not because you never cried, It's because you kept going anyway. That quiet resilience, that steady heart, it's what keeps families together and reminds the rest of us what real courage looks like. 3. Your lifelong contributions to family and society. You've spent your whole life giving to your family, your community, and your country. You've worked long hours, raised children, paid bills, built homes, and helped others get a better start than you had. And even after retirement, you never really stopped giving. You're still the one people call for advice, for help, or just to hear a voice that makes things feel okay again. Many of your contributions never made it to headlines or awards, but they built the foundation this generation stands on. The schools we went to, the roads we drive on, the freedoms we enjoy, they exist because people like you showed up, worked hard, and cared deeply. I remember meeting Thomas, a retired postal worker from Florida. For 40 years, he delivered mail, rain or shine, holiday or heat wave. After retiring, he started reading to kids at the local library twice a week. When I asked why, he smiled and said, "Because someone once took time for me. I'm just paying it forward." That's the heart of your generation, doing good quietly without expecting recognition. Your work ethic, honesty, and sense of responsibility have shaped everything around us. You didn't just build careers, you built communities. You taught us that real success isn't measured in titles, it's measured in impact. So even if no one says it enough, thank you. Thank you for the decades of work, for the sacrifices made, and for the love you've poured into every generation that came after you. The world runs smoother because of people like you, and that's something you should be proud of every single day. 4. Your patience and forgiveness. Patience and forgiveness, two things that seem so rare in today's world, but come naturally to you. You've learned over the years that getting angry doesn't fix much, and that holding grudges only makes the heart heavier. You've seen enough life to know that peace is worth more than pride. You've forgiven people who never apologized. You've stayed calm in moments that could have broken others. That doesn't mean you were weak, it means you were wise enough to protect your peace. I once met Margaret, a grandmother from Illinois. She told me her daughter hadn't spoken to her for 3 years after a disagreement. "I used to cry every night," she said, "but one day I realized she'll come when she's ready. My job isn't to win, it's to love her anyway." And she did. When her daughter finally called, the first thing Margaret said wasn't, "Where were you?" It was, "I'm just glad to hear your voice." That's the kind of love that heals families. Patient, unconditional, forgiving. You've taught us that forgiveness doesn't erase pain. It frees the soul from carrying it. You've shown that patience isn't about waiting, it's about trusting that everything unfolds in its own time. So even when the world rushes and people forget to say thank you, remember this: your patience keeps families connected, your forgiveness keeps hearts soft, and your calm presence teaches all of us what real maturity looks like. You're not just older, you're wiser, kinder, and stronger in ways most people can only hope to be. 5. Your desire to stay useful and independent. Even after decades of hard work, you still want to be useful, not because you have to, but because it gives you purpose. You've spent your whole life caring for others, solving problems, and building routines. So of course, sitting still doesn't feel natural. You've learned that the secret to staying young isn't about age, it's about staying involved. You want to feel needed. You want to do things on your own, whether it's watering your plants, cooking a meal, or helping a neighbor. That's not stubbornness, that's dignity. Independence is your way of saying, I may be older, but I still matter. I once met George, an 81-year-old retired engineer from Arizona. His kids begged him to stop working in his garage, but he kept fixing broken radios for his neighbors. One day, a young boy asked if he could learn. George smiled and said, "That's why I'm still doing this, so someone learns before it's too late." Now that boy visits him every weekend, learning patience, focus, and pride in doing something with your own hands. That's what independence really means. Not doing everything alone, but continuing to contribute in your own way. You still have skills, wisdom, and strength that the world needs. So never let anyone tell you to slow down just because of age. Staying active isn't about proving something. It's about living with purpose. You've earned the right to do things your way, on your terms, with the same strength and self-respect that carried you through life. 6. Your ability to keep adapting and learning. You've seen the world change faster in your lifetime than any generation before you, and you didn't just watch it happen, you kept up with it. You learned how to use smartphones, video calls, online banking, and even social media, things that didn't exist for most of your life. That takes courage, not just curiosity. You've proven that age doesn't stop learning, only fear does. And instead of letting fear win, you chose to grow. That's something the world doesn't recognize enough. I met Dolores, a 78-year-old woman from Colorado, who started learning digital photography after her husband passed away. She said, "I didn't want to feel left behind. I wanted to see the world through a new lens." Now she runs a small online photo page where she posts nature pictures and gets comments from people all over the country. She laughs and says, "Who knew I'd be teaching young people how to edit?" That's what makes your generation special. You adapt without complaining, you learn quietly, and you keep showing the rest of us that growth never stops. Whether it's trying a new recipe, using an app, or learning how to text your grandkids, you're proving that wisdom isn't about knowing everything, it's about being willing to keep learning. So the next time you open a new gadget or try something new, remember, you're not old-fashioned. You're proof that strength isn't about age, it's about staying curious, open-hearted, and ready for whatever comes next. You've spent a lifetime giving, teaching, and holding everything together. And even now, you keep surprising the world. You've shown that strength isn't just about muscles or youth. It's about heart, patience, and the will to keep growing, no matter your age. You've taught families what love truly means. You've carried responsibilities that others couldn't handle. You've forgiven when it was hard, stayed kind when it wasn't easy, and learned new things even when the world tried to leave you behind. That's not just aging, that's evolving with grace. You adapted when life changed, from letters to phones, from paper to screens, and you never gave up. You kept learning, kept trying, and kept finding new ways to stay connected. That's something the world should admire more often. You've proven that wisdom doesn't mean stopping. It means continuing to grow with dignity. There's a young person somewhere watching you, learning patience, kindness, and courage just by the way you live your everyday life. You're still teaching lessons without even realizing it. So if no one's told you lately, you are seen, you are valued, and you are deeply appreciated. Tell me in the comments, what's one lesson life has taught you that the younger generation needs to hear? And if this message touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who needs this reminder today. Because your story isn't over. It's still inspiring the world, one heart at a time.